Hey, what's up guys? Skyler Thomas here. Today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to reach your hand through a computer screen to grab something and then pull it back into the computer screen. It's a trick that I did in my 5 green screen tricks in under 3 minutes video. And it's a trick that a lot of people have been asking me to do a more detailed tutorial on. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you how to set up the shot, then bring it into Premiere Pro and get the effect from there. Alright, so first things first, to create the shot, we're going to need a green screen kit. I'll put the link to the kit that I used in the description to the video if you want to check it out. It has 4 different lights with the stands. It's going to come with your green screen, obviously, your stand for the actual green screen as well, and all that good stuff. So what I do for this particular shot is I set it up so that the stand is about at my belly, and then I decide on what I'm actually going to be grabbing from the screen. In my first video, I used a seltzer can. In this case, I'm going to use some Honey Made, some graham crackers, just something I had in my pantry. And basically, you just want to make sure whatever you're using doesn't have any green in it that's going to match with this color as we key it out. You just want to make sure you have different colors. And you also want to be aware of things that are highly reflective. The can was a little bit tricky last time because you could actually get a lot of the reflection from the can, the green into the reflection, and that makes it pretty tricky when you're keying that out as well. So just be aware of whatever you're trying to grab. Just make sure it doesn't have any green or anything like that. So what I do for this particular shot is I set this up with a couple of chairs. So what you can see is I've got, or more so, I've got a couple stools. So I've got 2 stools located right here out in front, and that's where I'm going to put the thing that I'm grabbing from the screen. And I like to set it up so that it's a good ways in front of me, in front of where I am with the green screen. And that's because I want it to appear larger. As we're going to put it into another shot with the actual computer screen, it's going to be a lot easier as we scale down, and it's going to make it so that I'm not so small if this appears a lot larger compared to me. So that's one thing I like to keep in mind. Just put it a little bit ahead of the of where you're grabbing. Alright, so when you're setting up the actual green screen, you just want to make sure that you have some decent, even lighting. You don't want any shadows or crinkling like you're seeing here. It makes the key a little bit harder. I think I can live with that. And it's not so much about lighting the green screen so that it's super bright. You just want as even of lighting as possible. So it doesn't, if you have one spot on here that's a lot brighter than, say, this side, it's going to make the key a lot harder. So just do your best to make sure that the lighting is as even as possible from one side to the next, and you should be able to get a good key. Okay, so for this shot, you're going to set up the bar so that it's just slightly above the top of the graham cracker. It's all about trying to match perspectives from this shot to where we actually shoot the computer shot. So just a few things to keep in mind. You want to try to keep this as level as possible so that you can match it up to the bottom of the actual computer screen and use this kind of as your bottom of the shot that's actually going to be keyed out. So try to keep this level. Also, you want to try to make sure that this is as level as possible so that it matches up, so that when you're having this look like it's sitting on your computer desk, it looks like it's actually sitting level as well. So make sure that all those are level. And from here, what we're going to do is now with this shot, as you're just trying to reach in, grab the graham crackers, make it look like you're excited to be stealing it, and then running off. So it's pretty simple from here. So for this shot, you're shooting in front of your computer screen. You obviously need that shot. What I do is I bring up the program that actually plays video so that I can just place the other footage that we just shot into this program, kind of mask out right here. And that's all we have to do there. I put the graham crackers here just as kind of like a reference point to see how large they look, to see if I can match it up as closely as possible, keeping the perspectives in line from the other shot. And that's pretty much all we have to do. So now we take this out of the way. I make sure that everything on the desk that could possibly be in the way of that graham cracker box would be out of the way. And then we just do our quick shot. I'm going to click on this so that it gets rid of the play bars because we don't want those. And from here, I'm just going to look at the screen. Alright, so we're within Premiere Pro, and the only things I've done so far is I imported the footage and I made a sequence out of the footage of me in front of the computer screen. And it's basically of just the clips of me looking shocked in front of the computer screen. And I also brought in a little clip of me actually with the graham crackers in front of the computer, just so I can get a reference for size. So I make sure that when I'm scaling down the other footage, I'm getting it to a pretty close scale. And all I'm going to do now is I'm going to go up to the other footage of me actually grabbing the graham crackers with the green screen, and I'm going to bring in that little clip right there. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to lay it over the shot of me with the actual graham crackers there, so I can put them side by side together. And just note that I shot this in 4K, so you're going to see this kind of really bumped up. I shoot all my stuff in 4K. It gives me a little more wiggle room with resolution, but it totally doesn't matter if you shoot it in just regular high def or whatever resolution you're shooting at. So I take this and I'm going to scale it down first. And then I'm just going to move this over to the side and probably move this base footage over to the side just so I can get the two graham cracker clips side by side here. And that looks pretty close, maybe a little bigger. That looks about right. Yeah, so now that we've kind of got them sized up, I'm going to bring this over onto our main footage. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to apply a ultra key effect, which is going to key out the green screen. So we got ultra key. I'm going to drag that up to the top layer, apply that. And then I'm going to take the key color, get the eyedropper, and get the green color that we have right next to it. Initially, that's not the greatest key out with this Premiere. There's a lot of variation in the color of the green screen because I didn't iron it out. But if we go over here to settings, I'm going to go to aggressive, and that's just going to give me the key that I actually need. That looks pretty good to me. So now I'm going to kind of line this up. And I might even just go to opacity and just drop this down a little bit so I can get a feel. And what we're trying to do is line up the edge of the green screen here to the edge of the screen right here. So I'm going to drop that down even further. And I'm going to move this a little bit, get that edge right there. That looks pretty good to me. Might even bump this up slightly. Now if I bring the opacity up, I can kind of get a feel for if it's right on the edge there. And it looks like it needs to come down just slightly. And now we've got it pretty well lined up. The only thing I might do is you see that we didn't perfectly match up the actual how leveled the shot was along the green screen to the shot of the, well, it's not perfect, but luckily we can just play with that a little bit with the rotation. I'm going to go to just maybe 0.1. It's very subtle. Maybe 0.2. And I think we've got it pretty well covered right there. All right, so we're getting pretty close. The only thing we have to do now is we're going to mask out the rest of the screen. So what I like to do is I like to really bring the opacity down so that I can just fully see the screen area that we want to block out. And with going to our opacity, we go to this pen tool. And what we're going to do is mark up the edges here. And we do have to make sure that we're keeping the box in the shot, so I just kind of go down and go around. Still make sure to hit those edges of the screen because that is what we're looking to have show in the actual shot. All right, so with that mask right now, I'm actually going to take out the feather. I don't think that's necessary, and we're going to up the opacity. And what we have here is our actual shot. So if you play this through, that looks pretty good. There's a couple more things that we can do to kind of make this look even better. You're going to notice that there's no shadow here. And if we want to add a shadow, there's a couple different ways we can go about that. So I'm going to drag the green screen layer up a little bit. And let's make sure this all kind of lines up at the same time. That looks pretty good. All right, so we're going to duplicate our base layer. So what I do is I just drag it up holding Alt, and that gets it for me. It might be Option for you if you're on a Mac. So what we're going to do is take our pen tool, and we're going to draw out a little area that looks like it would be a shadow. So maybe something like that. And with that there selected, what we can do is go up to Window. I'm going to go to Lumetri Color, which is going to open up this area for us. And we can just drop the exposure a little bit. And that gives us that shadow that we want. And I'm probably going to up the feather just a bit, kind of give it that kind of soft edge. Maybe even drop the opacity slightly. And I'm going to close this panel out just so we can see better. And then we have to match it up to have it fade out right as I'm grabbing it, because we don't want it to be there the whole time. So I'm just going to match it up till right about there. I think it'll disappear completely. And then I'm going to just add a dissolve. I think that's simple enough. You can play around with it a little bit more if you want to. It's subtle, but it kind of does the trick. So the second way I'm going to show you how to do it real quick is we have this shot over here, which actually has the reflection. So I'm going to duplicate this area, and I'm just going to mask around this actual reflection to bring that down and get to right about there. All right, so now that it's just showing this, we can drag this over. See that we have that. Whichever one I had highlighted. All right, so now we've got the reflection. It looks pretty realistic with what we have here. Now we have to do the same thing and figure out where the shadow is actually going to disappear. It's probably going to disappear right about there. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to use a dissolve. You can get a little bit, you can do anything from shrinking the scale to changing the opacity. For me, simple enough to just kind of grab this and have it fade out. It's quick, just do a quick fade out. Maybe bring it in just slightly. Just like that. That looks pretty good. All right, guys, that's how you do it. It's not a lot of work in post, but it's more about how you actually set up the shots. I know this is a bit more detail-oriented than most of my tutorials, so I hope this helps any of you that needed that more detailed explanation as to how to achieve the effect. If you liked the video, please like and hit that subscribe button. I always appreciate that. I've got a lot more good videos coming. Haven't been able to get to them this week because my brother was visiting and had to show him around Denver and all that good stuff. But now I'm back at it, making more videos, so hit that subscribe button and I'll see you in the next video. Cool. Peace, guys.